Reese and Ira on the corner. Real talk corner. Real Entertainment Network.
Ira and Reese. The talk is still real. We still on the corner. We gonna touch on some topics.
SKN, we got topics. Let's have a discussion. The people got questions. The people want answers. Yeah, we got topics. Let's have a discussion. The people got questions. The people want answers. Yeah, it's real talking. It's real talk. It's real talking. It's real talk. It's real talking. Real talk. It's real talking. Real talk. Yeah.
Ira and Reese. The talk is still real. We still on the corner.
Real talk.
We gonna touch on some topics.
It's real talking, it's real talk. It's real talking, it's real talk. It's real talking, real talk. It's real talking, real talk, yeah. Check it out, you know, in tune.
Ghana. Yeah. Yes. Good evening. Reese.
What going on?
Monday.
Very vibes.
Monday. It's good.
A good Monday nonetheless.
Tired too. But
You know what the third part, but I've been living my best life recently, so
see that.
can't complain. I can't complain.
See that.
You know,
Yeah.
many haven't been as fortunate as I have been. You know what I mean? But I've been living my best life recently, so I cannot complain.
You sound tired. You sound tired.
Tired?
Yeah, man.
Bye.
You sound tired.
But tired the fairest thing for me, boy. Me didn't think tired know what I look like right now.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, tired might see me and say, who that?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So what we have tonight?
Well, tonight we're gonna speak about an issue that needs to be spoken about a lot more. That
Yeah.
many individuals are afraid to speak about. Topics that are it's a topic that individuals are afraid to touch on, and we need to touch on it. We're gonna be touching on it because it's something that's very important, and that is going to be pedophilia.
Ooh.
All right,
Oh.
pedophilia is something that we would have heard a lot of things about, but no one really wants to speak about it. So
Uh-huh.
leave it to us. Let us be the ones to speak about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. For the second
You
time.
know? Yeah, definitely. You know, and it's
Yeah.
like I said, it's something that needs to be spoken about.
For the second
And
time,
the
and like
fact,
you said, it needs to be spoken about, and not only just spoken about, but spoken about a lot more, right?
definitely,
So more conversations
definitely,
need to be.
definitely. It's one of those things that individuals are afraid to speak about and seeing that they don't want to touch on it.
Interesting.
Let us touch on it for them.
Interesting. You think people are afraid to talk about it? That's your perspective.
I think it's two things about it. I think one, people are afraid to speak about it, but two, people don't want to admit that it's a problem. They don't want to admit that it's something that's real. And
Okay.
anytime you have a problem like that and people don't want to accept the fact that it's real or it's ongoing, you're always going to have issues.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. And you really believe people don't think it's real? I have a different perspective, but we can get into the conversation.
No, but you know, there are a lot of people that are afraid to accept things what they are.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
and because you're afraid to accept things what they are, then you run the risk of not being willing to actually accept it as a problem.
Okay. So give us a definition, because I think we had a definition on the side of what we're talking about tonight in terms of what pedophilia is, and let's take it from there. No.
Well, pedophilia is defined as having sexual feelings towards children. All right, and that's in a small thing, in a small vacuum what pedophilia really is. Having sexual feelings towards children.
Yeah,
Someone is going to say, well, what age is considered a child?
yeah.
I go based on what the last states, and the last states that anybody under 18
Okay.
is considered a child.
It's interesting that you said that because I was like, wow. But we can talk. We can talk. We can talk. So
Yeah,
we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk.
we have to.
Yeah. Um. So start it off. Start it off.
Well, let me come out plain out and say what my thoughts are on
Yeah.
pedophilia from the jump. I don't feel that anyone, man or woman, should be indulging in anything sexual with children.
Okay.
I can't understand how you're going to tell me that you're 35 and there's a 13-year-old or 14-year-old, 15-year-old that is sexually attractive to you,
Okay.
right? And before we go too deep into it, let's understand that pedophilia is not just about young girls, but also young boys.
Yeah.
All right, pedophilia is not gender specific. It goes for both genders because it happens to both genders.
For sure.
All right.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure we establish that as well because pedophilia is not gender specific.
Okay.
And we're
Okay.
not going to stay here and act like it is because it's
Okay.
not.
Okay. So sometimes it may not be as black as white. Okay. Let's think about here in Florida, right? I think there is a grace period. Do you know if there's a grace period in St. Kitts and Nevis? Because when you think about the
What do you
definition,
consider, well, when you say grace period, what do you mean by grace period?
um, I think it's 23 is when, like after 23 is when it really kicks in as a serious offense. 23 to like 16 or
Um,
something like that.
I
Be-
think it's more 20. I think it's 21 to 16.
No, I think it's 23 here, but I'm thinking about in St. Kitts and Nevis because based on the
Yeah,
definition that you,
I'm,
huh?
I'm not, well, I'm not sure. Let me put it out there. I'm not
Yeah, yeah.
sure. I'm not,
I mean, it's a quick
I'm not
Google
mixed with
search,
any
but
of those things. So
based on the
I've been fact
definition
checking.
that you just gave, right? How are your feelings towards an 18-year-old and his 15-year-old girlfriend? And I specifically use 15 because I can get into another part of the conversation, but I use 15 in this case. So 18-year-old and a 15-year-old girlfriend, they were in school together, maybe it was 3 years apart. So they were in school together, and actually they're still in school. 18 and 15, you could still be in school together. What's your thoughts on that then, in terms of
Um,
pedophilia?
you
Because,
see,
yeah.
that's where that line, that's where the lines don't get blurred, right?
Oh, okay.
Because no use, no, I'm telling you, because no, you're speaking of somebody. Let's say they were together at 16 and 13. You'd say what, 3 years apart? But legally it's considered okay. But then once you cross into 18, you consider adult, that individual is considered a non-consenting individual, right? Can't give consent for her body.
Okay. Okay.
But then, like you said, there's a grace period,
But I don't
right?
know here in St. Kitts and
Well,
Nevis. In St. Kitts and Nevis.
I think that there's a grace period. I'm not 100% sure, but I do think that is 16 to 21. I do think that that's what it is.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure. Do not
Okay.
quote me
Okay.
on it.
Okay. Okay. Well, we having a conversation about pedophilia, and I get it's gonna surround what we've seen growing up in St. Kitts and Nevis, but there's also the wider world, and then that line starts to gray out. Like, oh, there's different levels to where people could give consent for sex. One of the things that I've realized is the law allows pedophilia based on the definition that you just gave, right?
Mm.
And the reason why I'm gonna say that is because if you're 18 years old, you're an adult. Anything less than 18, is that not considered a minor? Maybe not. By the law, I think anybody less than
It should be
18 is
considered
considered.
minor.
But yet
Mm.
still the law says 16-year-olds could give consent to sex. So minors could give consent to sex. And if a
Yeah,
minor could give consent to sex, then there is nothing illegal, maybe moral, right? Maybe there's a moral problem with somebody who is 30, 35 years old, 50, 55 years old, going with a 16-year-old based on the law. So, are we saying that our society and our law is encouraging pedophilia?
that's an interesting way to look at it. Um, I don't know if I would say yes, but based on the definition, it would have to be yes. But would I feel that is a yes? It's a little iffy.
I mean, I I read something where they were saying most people know what child abuse is and pedophilia. But let's take for instance, we start talking about males, a male having sex with a 5-year old, 7-year old, automatically disgusted, right? Fully disgusted. That person is sick, that person should be stoned, all kind of things. But then as that child gets older and exit pre puberty and goes into puberty and start to develop, right? You see the line start to grow out, it starts to fade away. That thick line that separated moral or moral compass, that immoral and moral, that starts to gray away, it starts to thin away. So now it's not looked upon in the same light when you see a man with a school child because she is developed, right? Her body starts to develop. She starts to take her womanly form, right? So you start to hear people say, "Oh, a long time she a look man anyway." You know what I mean? So the child even becomes like the victim starts to we start to blame the victim, right? We start to blame the victim. I think that's where the problem in society lies, right? And I think that is the conversation that we're gonna have. The reason being, I think almost everyone would accept there is something totally wrong with a adult going with someone, let's say under the age of 10, who has not started puberty yet. But as that person starts to grow into their adult body, then you start to see people starting to shift the conversation. The conversation is not as serious, right? And the focus is no longer on child abuse, but more so, oh, she fast, he fast, that kind of conversation,
Yeah,
right?
and those are statements that we hear far too often, eh?
Hmm.
And we start to blame the minor, and that's one of the things where I said that 13, 14, 15, there's nothing about them that's attractive. So I don't understand why some people feel that it's okay, you know what I mean, to go that direction.
Hmm.
You
So,
know, yeah.
so research has shown that it's a lot of their own shortcomings, no pun intended. Intended. So they may not have the intersocial skills or the confidence, right? As we could just say, the lyrics, the ability to to approach an adult woman, right? They may not be at the level where they could actually offer something of substance to an adult woman because an adult woman now needs a certain level of protection, a certain level of support, a certain level of, you know, there's things that make up an adult relationship, right?
There's things that they're going to require.
Yeah. So you realize that. But with the younger girls, they might just got to buy them a phone, give them a lift in the car, something, you know what I mean? So it's easier for them to get what they want, right? Now, there is what they consider true pedophiles and opportunic pedophiles. The cases of true pedophiles, I don't know how many, but I think we have a lot of opportunic pedophiles in St.
So you
Kitts.
don't think we have a lot of true pedophiles?
Well, true pedophiles
I mean, you're
only.
telling me you don't think we have a lot of true pedophiles?
Well,
Because I feel we do.
based on the definition, no. Because I've never heard of a case where it's a man who's a woman who solely goes with kids, right? That's a true pedophile. Their inclination is only towards children, right? It's not
Okay,
both,
okay,
right?
hold on. So check it out now. What
Yeah.
do you say to those? What do you say about those who go with a mother knowing that they really ain't the child? So they just want her to get in the house. Because that happened, eh? One of the biggest targets out here is single mothers, especially when they know that the mother and father don't get along, because then it's an easy house to conquer.
Hmm.
Especially if mommy working two and three jobs.
Hmm. So you don't you
So
don't
then,
you don't think they see that as an opportunity to get in because they know
no,
that
but that
child
might,
is less
but,
vulnerable.
but that might have been what they went in there for.
But it's an
The whole
opportunity.
idea, the whole idea was to get in for the child. It wasn't for the mother. We didn't want the mother. They didn't want the mother. They want the child, but they got to go through the mother. So
Understood.
their mind
Understood.
frame, their mind frame is aimed at the child. The child is the target. So it's not the
Understood.
opportunity.
But what I am saying here is that a pedophile, a true pedophile, would probably not touch the mother at all. Maybe you get in, but no interest. It's you get what I'm saying? They would not have any uh, sexual relations with the mother at all, right? The problem that we see is a cycle. It's a cycle where most people go to school, you know, they want to talk to who they're attracted to, but for some reason, who they're attracted to is attracted to an older person. So now it's their chance to repay the favor, you know. No, it's never been seen as wrong, you know. You go to school, and honestly, Reese, you cannot tell me I'm lying here, but you go to school and you see teachers, right? You see the teachers participating in these kind of behaviors, right? So for you, it's what you see. What we for us is what we see. It's the normal behavior. It's the norm. It's the accepted. It's the unspoken accepted. What I feel is we have accepted it. I feel like as a society, once that child crosses a certain age, we accept the act of pedophilia. I mean, the law proves it. The law tell you when he's 16, you could get consent, even though he's a minor. And to imagine when they wanted to raise the age to 18, there was an uproar, right? So that shows you the society as a whole has accepted it. For instance, we would see a video of a young boy, a boy, daggering a big woman and a big joke. It's, yeah, man, yeah, cheer on. You know, we accept that. Whereas that is child abuse. Because it's not only to have sex, it's anything sexual, talking, showing of pornography, any advancement, having feelings towards, you know, a pedophile could have feelings towards somebody because you have pedophiles who do not act on their impulses. right? They know it's wrong and it's a psychological problem, so they're able to suppress it. Now you have some of those who can't suppress it, so they act on an impulse, like they get the opportunity to do it, right? They get the opportunity. They go by the school. They got a little money. The young girls then come in. They pull out a little bit of money and show off. You know, these same way with the boys, whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? Because like you say, it happened to both male and female, right? Boys and girls. I am afraid that it happens a lot more to the boys than any study would be able to find out, right? I am afraid because let's think, for instance, a man abuse a young boy, right?
Mm.
How how hard it would be for that young boy to go to somebody and say,
Yes. Okay, stick up in, stick
"Go
up
ahead."
in. You skip over the whole thing, right? Because you went directly to a young male and an older male, and automatically we know that that is a problem. Here's where society has failed our children. You would have a young male with an older female, and you know what we say? Why you
But
the big man?
I was
Why you
gonna
got
get to
things
that.
going
I
on?
was gonna get to that. I was going to get to that. I was going to get to that.
Not realizing that,
I
not
was
realizing that the young child has been abused.
I was definitely going to get to that. I was going to get to that. I mean, yeah,
You know, and that's one of the biggest problems we have as well. Where
exactly.
that is accepted.
Society has accepted it. I think society has accepted it,
And
right?
here's the thing: society will know, and society will cheer it on. Society gonna say, "Boy, you are the big man. Boy, you got
Yeah,
things going on."
yeah. D-
You know, and that's one of the biggest problems.
in other cases, I think most people in St. Kitts and Nevis would have seen some form of pedophilia, some form of pedophilic behavior. You know what I mean? They would have seen it. Most of us know of people who would have participated in these acts. But guess what? When it becomes someone that you're close to, or somebody like your brother, your sister, a good friend, a brethren, or something, guess what we do? We talk about it in our little circles, but we don't take it outside.
It
You know,
doesn't go outside. It doesn't go past.
you
Don't go
don't do
past that.
anything
That's what
about
we do.
it. We don't do anything about it, right? We won't do anything about it.
And you know,
So,
we neglect the hurt that comes with that.
of course, of course. So, this is where I have realized that the blame cannot be solely on the offenders, because they said the harbor rust and the thief, right? The blame has to be placed on society, right?
Well, it's a community problem. We're not that far far.
What do we know about these things? A young girl might be walking down the road, and the references tonight are gonna be more on the young female side, because that is what we know mostly. That is probably what is most prevalent as well, right? But a young girl can be walking down the road, right? And a man might see she, you know, in his school unique, in his tunic, I must say, in his school tunic, in her school clothes, right? She might go tell she mother. She mother might say, "Oh well, nothing happened, so let that alone." Now I read a case. I read a case where a woman was in her neighborhood and her 5-year-old received a love letter from a man. You see what I'm saying?
Her 5-year old receiver.
A love letter from an adult.
Mm.
So she approached the man and she tell him, I think you need psychological help. Now the fact that we don't have a lot of panels and a lot of discussions surrounding this matter shows you. I bet you tonight, I bet you tonight the numbers of the show are gonna be lower than a lot of the numbers before. Because people just not interested. People just
Okay,
don't
but
care.
hold on. I want to stick a pin right there, right? 'Cause you just say that she spoke to the man and tell him he need help.
Mhm.
She's a part of the problem
Okay.
because telling him that he need help, he's still out there in the world. So he may not go after her data again. He may go after somebody else's
I
data.
mean, you can't. It
No, but you have to get law enforcement involved right away. Telling him he
understood,
need a doctor don't mean nothing because telling him he need a doctor don't mean he going doctor.
understood.
You know what I mean?
We understand
So,
that.
and,
I
and that's
understand
the
that.
problem.
We understand that. But I think a part of the problem is the way how we use law enforcement. Law enforcement, in some cases, they tell you it's about rehabilitation, right? But jail is not made to rehabilitate. Jail is made for punishment. So law enforcement often is a last resort measure, right? It should always be used as a last resort measure. We could stray away from the talk of pedophilia and think about young adults, young kids who you could tell might become a trouble to society. At that point, do you arrest them or do you try to give them some sort of help,
Okay,
mental, medical help,
okay,
right?
stop. It depends on the level, right? If I go in a store and thief a Snickers, is different than me going in a dance and stabbing up a man. It's two different things.
But
You can't wear them the same.
yeah, no. But we're talking about somebody that write a letter. We're not talking about somebody that kidnapped a child or had sex with a child. We're talking about that somebody that wrote a letter to a child. So you just
So
gave
do
me
we
a
wait?
lesser farm. You stealing a
So do we wait?
snicker. Do we wait? No.
Yeah.
We act. But here's the problem. There is
How?
nothing in place. There is nothing in place. Because the numbers show, and it may not be the Caribbean. It probably might be even higher in the Caribbean, but 0.5 to 3% of males have these tendencies, right? So the fact that they have these tendencies doesn't mean that they're gonna act on it every time. They are act on it at all. But they're living with it, right? Just how we start to see people say, okay, they're attracted to the same sex, or they're attracted to a tree, right? And they say, I couldn't do anything about it. That's how I feel. That's who I love. I love this tree. I love this bridge. You know what I mean? And you're like, you can't understand it. You know what I mean? It's the same way some of these people have those kind of feelings that they can't control. I think I watched a documentary one time and the guy was like, he know, he know, he know this is wrong. But he can't help it. He goes to help. He goes for help. He goes to groups and these kind of things. But psychologically, he cannot help it because he is just attracted to little girls,
Just remember yourself.
right?
Just remember yourself. If you can't help it, just remember yourself. Because I'm gonna tell you something.
Yeah,
If it happens to be that that individual comes around my child, he ain't got to dismember himself. I will
yeah.
do it for him. It's simple. So I don't feel it's like I don't feel it's nothing hard to come to a conclusion though.
I understand that you're gonna say to tell the person dismember themselves, right? But as the person, how easy would it for them to just dismember themselves? In some cases, I think the man said he did dismember himself. He he couldn't go around certain places, certain things. Like he just, he lived in a mental jail,
Yeah,
right?
but here's the thing, right? He knows that he have a problem. He has admitted that he has a problem.
Yeah,
Okay, so let's go on the next step. Know that you know you have a problem. You have to know take it upon yourself to stay away from certain things, stay away from certain places, stay away from certain people. You don't go around no school. Don't go on the playground. You see a little football team playing football. Don't go around them. You know what I mean? You have to do things because then if you put up on the wrong person with their children, it's gonna be different. Because you can't come to me and tell me, oh, you say touch your child by mistake. Ain't got
yeah.
a mistake. Ain't got a mistake for me. I got something special for them.
I know.
It's life is simple.
I know you got special for them.
You know what I mean? Because I don't agree with these things. I feel like if you have a problem,
Yeah,
it's just like if you say your problem is alcohol,
yeah,
stay away from the bars.
yeah,
You have admitted to yourself, hey, I got the drinking problem. I ain't going to no more bar.
yeah.
You have to make sure you put yourself in situations where you don't fall back into these
Understood,
things.
understood. But how easy it for somebody to lock themselves away? And really and truly, is that the only answer? You know what I mean? Can we not set up systems that help? Because, like I said earlier, Reese, we are a part of the problem. So why are we not treating ourselves that way too?
We have
Right?
had the problem in terms of what? In terms of knowing or in terms
In
of being
terms
a
of knowing
in
and
terms of
not
knowing.
doing more,
Okay.
knowing
Yeah,
and
I'm
not
scared.
doing more, huh?
Had me thinking
No,
like
no, no,
we are
no, no,
part of the other side problem. What to say, no
no,
sir.
no, 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 no.
Yeah, yeah,
I am very much attracted to grown females in my wife. So, but we have admitted this. We have admitted that we would have had conversations. Most people would have had conversations about it and known somebody who might have performed the act or whatever, and nothing is done.
No, well,
What
listen,
happened?
listen. I'm gonna be honest with you,
You
right?
ain't know any? You know any?
I, if I know any,
Yeah, you know any?
check this out, man.
Okay.
Second farm, right?
Hmm.
Or right after Christmas. I think that year of carnival, Sugar Man had step up.
Yeah.
I feeling good. I hit school January and I see this girl. I say, man, I gonna forward. And when the girl tell me, big man, me and you cool, I'm gonna have be cool. Up to this day, we still friendly. She tell me you ain't gonna care. Yes, I in second farm. The
Yeah.
girl tell me you ain't gonna care.
You don't.
Okay. Interprimary come wrong. When man struggling now, got to walk home after interprimary, I see the girl in the front seat. I say, okay, well, I'm never going to be in this race. That is how it is sometimes. But at that age, 13, 14, we won't talk about that because we are so accustomed to seeing it. We are so accustomed to seeing that these young ladies in our class, however it is, with the big man them.
Yeah.
Only when you go older then you realize. By stupidness we're going on all the time.
All the time. All the time. All the time. When you were a child and you're seeing it, like you said, we never thought of it as pedophilia. We never thought of it as something. But
But
society,
you know why? You
what?
know why though?
What?
Because it's not a topic that is ever spoken about.
But even
If
so,
you, but you got to most people right now and say what is pedophilia, they don't know what it is because it's
well,
not something that is spoken about.
it's great. It's great that you said that, right? Because there's a study on UNICEF.org, and they started to define pedophilia. And it was like, there was a part in there where they said the studies showed that for most people there was a clear understanding about the types of behavior that constitute sexual, I'm reading, constitute sexual abuse, although there were differences in relation to abuse involving consenting teenage girls and older men, right? The findings suggest that despite sexual offenses being clearly defined in legal terms at the conceptual level, sexual abuse is not fixed. It depends upon range of circumstances, and how abuse is defined is influenced not only by the characteristics of the victim and the abuser, but also the characteristics and experiences of the person who is asked the question. Asked whether, here's the part that got me. Asked whether sex between an older man and underage girls is increasing, a person might say yes. So if you ask them, is this a problem? Here's the part. However, if the same person is asked whether sexual abuse is increasing, he or she might say no. So in one breath, you ask them, is this type of behavior increasing? And they can say yes. But in the other breath, when it becomes a problem now,
So here's
they
what it
say no.
is. They don't
Said,
see the correlation. They don't see the correlation between both. They don't realize that in itself is sexual abuse. That you have said the numbers between underage girls and older men are going increasing. That is sexual abuse.
mm-hmm.
But we are not taught that. We are not taught that at a young age.
We're not taught that. We're not. Well, let's go to the comments and see. Zonel said, ahem. Department of Health should get with Department of Education and have curriculum written to help proper inform and educate children of different ages about their bodies and sexual health, because they get curious and go online and find it, and you definitely do not want that. The music in the culture, but who ready for that conversation?
Mm.
Bobby start to play some of
So,
our music now,
Zonel, well
right?
done. But I'll tell you one thing. She said that Department of Health should get to Department of Education. Yeah, but parents need to do the part. This needs to start at home, right? The
Curtis,
parents
yeah,
and one of the issues that we have is parents should know by hey, raise this kind of person,
not me.
but sometimes we're just using
Don't use me as an
hey,
example.
Johnny's this kind of person.
Yeah, well, don't
But
call nobody
you know
name. Say A and
what
B.
happened? What
Before
happened, what
somebody
happened now
there,
is
Johnny said, we said, give me this.
what happened now, when it come down to it now, at the end of the month, she might fall a little short and she can't pay a bill or two and Johnny might give she the money. So now she ain't gonna tell she daughter stay from Johnny because she ain't gonna tell she son because we like to say daughter, but she ain't gonna tell she son stay from Johnny. Even though she may know that Johnny is this kind of person. And she won't have the conversation and say, hey, if this person if you ever get touched here, if you ever get touched there, you need to tell me right away.
Mm-hmm.
One of the biggest issues I've seen, what I mean, if you if you want to be honest about it, is you have parents that are afraid to tell children the right name for the private part.
Yeah, we had that conversation the last time, right?
You hear little
Hold
boys
on,
going up
hold on.
Charlie.
Somebody wants to know how can they call in. Or
Put
we
put
could
put the
send you a
link.
link for you to call in.
Put put the link. You
Um,
know, but
yeah,
but
but
but,
go
but
ahead.
these are problems. So while I understand what Zonal was saying that what you call it, education and health should come together. The parents got to play the part.
They do.
This should start at home and this should start from the children back. You got to start teaching them.
Well, you know what some of the problem is? You see that comment underneath there? I think when we go back to school and we think about teachers that used to partake in this type of behavior. So you want to say only the children knew about it? You don't think adult
That
teachers knew
that's
about it?
that's again as well. That's
Right?
again as well.
You don't think the
You know,
authorities knew about it? The ones them in charge, the ones them who can bang you as a child when you do something wrong. You don't think they knew about it?
hey, Ari, you put a link for him.
Yeah.
Put it in He want to join.
Yeah.
But you know that's a major thing. You know what I mean? And that's one of the things we have to look into. So while I totally agree that education and health should come together, yes, we also need the parents to do the part,
Yeah.
right? And one of the other things we need to is we need to get back to the time when your community and your village used to look out for everybody.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Because we have the situation where we have these children will be getting touched by this man up the road, and everybody in the village know. But wouldn't tell you. No, we can't deal with that. We need these kind of things to be spoken about.
correct. So for the person who wants to call in, just copy and paste that link into our browser, and you could enter your name into the box. We're gonna see when you're joined, and we're gonna bring you on screen. You don't have to be on screen. You could leave your camera off. You could turn your camera off. But go ahead, Reese.
No, but and like I was saying, that's one of the biggest problems that we face. No one wants to speak. Like you said, people know, but no one wants to say anything.
People
No one
getting
wants to be that person to say anything.
yeah, people getting people getting people in high positions too. It's a part of the problem. Right?
This problem is every layer. Every level you
Yeah,
can find is a part of this problem.
yeah,
Yeah, every level you can find. Make care which level you want to start at. Is a
exactly.
part of the problem.
And we know there are some that disgust us. We're disgusted by it, fully disgusted. Because, like I said, if I was to say right now, a woman had um, sex with a 5-year-old boy, a man had sex with a 5-year-old girl, right? We definitely are gonna have an uproar. But as you said, 15, 16. Well, 16 is legal, 14. Then the conversation, the conversation starts to fade, right? The conversation starts to fade. Um, I don't know if the guest is there. I think I saw the guest join. If you're there, say something. Just send him the wrong link. And it looked like Reese may have gotten disconnected as well. But
Yeah,
Reese, you're back. You got
yeah, man.
disconnected.
But I don't know what happened. But that's why I say keep going. Um,
And it looked like Greece may have got disconnected.
yeah, he back though. Curtis said that
Reese,
he need a password.
he said that.
Yeah, I just see it in the thing.
Okay,
So if you want to send that to him.
okay.
But
Let's continue the conversation. I'll send him something. So yeah,
yeah, definitely.
that's a part of the problem. We protect them because it's someone we may love, right? It's someone we may be close to, right? It's someone in in society who is who is who is a part of high society, right? So we turn a blind eye. All of these things. Hmm?
But you see, like the issue. So the issue of turning a blind eye, right, is that we don't realize the impact that these actions have on the victims. Because now you have a group of individuals growing up that would have been sexually abused, but
Mm-hmm.
because it has been allowed to happen, they now feel that it's regular,
Got you.
that this is everyday living. So now these individuals grow up now and they start to emulate the actions that they would have seen before. And they're thinking in their head that this is right because I have seen this before. And the
Got,
cycle is hard to break,
got it.
especially if it's someone, especially if it's a loved one. Eh? Because if
Yeah.
your loved one is somebody who you think is supposed to protect you and be there for you and look out for you, and that happened, then that destroy your life.
Got it. That is true. Because there's another part, incest, right? There's a lot of that.
Well, you
There's a
know,
lot of that.
so last year, at the end of last year, we have seen this video that came out with this young lady,
Mm-hmm.
and she said that she was molested by her father,
Mm-hmm.
and she went into a whole long list of things.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, I'm not putting anybody's business out there. This is something that came out publicly.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this individual worked at one point in the Department of Education at schools.
Yeah.
How many other people you think you would have touched?
Me know.
And then how does that this young lady know who has had these things done to her by her father look at any male and say that she could trust them again in life?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the one person that you expect to love you, to be there through thick and thin as a male figure in your life, and that is what that individual did to that young lady.
Correct.
That
Correct.
lady, unfortunately, that young lady life gonna be in shambles for forever.
And there's
And when
also, go ahead.
and when you look at it, especially within the islands, right? We don't take therapy seriously, and therapy isn't encouraged. So individuals would not go to a therapist to speak about these things. They keep it bottled up inside.
Correct.
A problem,
But therapy, people don't even go to. So, what do you mean?
you
Right?
know. Yeah, but it's not encouraged either. I think
Yeah,
one of the problems is we don't encourage it.
exactly. Why don't we encourage it? Because we don't see it as a problem.
And
We have to.
that's
As
these are things
society,
we
we
have to
have,
look at.
Reese, as society, we have to accept this. Because in order for us to get better, we have to accept that we don't see this as a problem. At a certain age, yes. When you hear a 10-year-old, a 11-year-old, maybe, because the ever famous saying, after 12 is lunch,
I
sometimes
don't say that,
10:30.
so
Hold on. Yeah.
I don't say
But
that.
when you hear 7 and 6, yes, disgusted, nasty. But once that child in high school, the conversation
He
change.
he said he trying to get in,
The conversation change, right?
and
The
that is true.
whole
The conversation does change, but
yeah.
should it change? The answer to that is no.
No. But I've
It should
already
not
expressed,
change.
I've already expressed, I've already expressed that even the law allows it. Because we have said an adult is 18, right? But at 16, you could give consent as a minor to have sex to whoever you want. So even the law, even in the law, we have written it so that people could get away with these pedophilia acts.
But listen, let
And
me tell
we
you
were
something.
supposed to change it. We were
When I
supposed to change
see,
it to 18, and we said what? No.
but
There was
it
an
should be changed to
uproar.
18.
People being vexed. What 18?
It should it should be changed to 18.
What 18 you talk
All right,
about?
it should be changed to 18, and I feel that those who would have fought against it being changed to 18, it shows their character.
Exactly.
It shows the kind of person that they are. Um, There's no, like I've always said, there's nothing in a young girl that is attractive to me. If you have her on a uniform, you cannot be attractive.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
It'll be so bad when I see school children. I saw mess up in my head, and I say, "Don't call me Reese, call me Mr. Trust." Yeah, because I don't want them to feel like for any reason we're on the same level. No, we're not on the same level.
Yeah, I understand. It's supposed that we're supposed to protect them, right? Um, for anyone that would like to call in, this is the code to call in.
Give the full code. Let Curtis get in. We need Curtis to get in.
I sent it. I sent.
But
I sent him the code in his inbox, so they should be
okay,
able to click on that Vmix, that Vmix thing, where they see
but
if it comes up,
yeah,
right? Right there where it says vmix.com, Vmix call. That is what you use to call in. If there is no password in the password section,
Right
okay,
there.
someone joined. Someone joined.
That is what you use to call in. If there is no password in the password section,
Oh, it looked like I sent the wrong one. I sent a Reese one. Because
that
Kyle
that
just joined.
that's why you get kicked out.
Yeah. So Kyle, sorry about that. I sent you the wrong one. I'm gonna send you the correct one now. But cause I gotta change it. I gotta keep changing it. But like I'm saying, Reese, the conversation needs to be had, right?
And
And
and not only that, it needs to be had more frequently.
but but if are we protecting are we protecting the people or are we protecting ourselves? That is the question. In most cases, I think we're protecting ourselves because we're a part of the problem. And it's only when I did my research, it's only when I started to do the research, I realized, by Ira, you now need to start to speak out about the things that you want to champion against. So if I want to champion against pedophilia, I can't just have the conversation
I
within a circle
hold
saying
on.
this person is
I
incorrect. That's the
hold
new
on.
link.
You send the code. You send the code.
That's the new link in the comments.
Okay.
Ending with
Wait,
DP, right?
which one with DP by?
Just sent it.
Okay. All right. Cool. To Curtis, to Kyle, whoever y'all want to call in, whoever call in first, we'll let y'all in. That's the link that just come up right there. Hop on, jump on, let's talk about it. It's a conversation that needs to be had, and everybody needs to be a part of this conversation.
We need to have more people talk about it, right?
Yeah, and I feel like one of these things that we need to do too is we have a lot of shows, right? A lot of talk shows on radio and who on Facebook and who on social media and who on TV. Everybody talking, but let's talk about real topics, man. Let's really go into this because it's a problem. It's a
Exactly.
problem.
Exactly. It's a problem. So yeah,
You
if you
know.
want to join the call, sorry, it seems like I sent out Reese's link before. The link now is in the chat for the caller number one. So click on the link. Reese, someone, can you please pin the link so the link is on the top?
Yeah, let me pin that.
The one end with DP.
Yeah, I got it. But yeah, but to be honest with you, man, it's a major problem.
Yeah,
It's a major problem.
it's a
You know what I
terrible
mean? And
problem. Terrible, terrible, terrible.
we, like you said,
Right?
as a society, we're not gonna blame any individual or any one person. As a society, we have a problem, and we don't speak up. We know that is a problem, but we don't speak up.
We don't speak up. We don't
You
speak
know?
up. We wait until it's too late. I can remember as a child, there was a search for a young lady, a young girl from Fountain. And when
Mm.
they found that it was too late, right? What if that young girl had mentioned before, I don't know if or not, that this guy was showing certain feelings towards her, you know? Did we do anything about it? Maybe we did, but did we do enough? Definitely not, because we saw the end result. That is a hard past that we have to go back to. But that is something that we have to look at, because you do have some of these pedophiles that become violent, right?
Okay.
And in order to protect themselves, they go to the extreme length, which is to murder the victim. Of course, that is when it becomes a problem, right? Of course, that is when there's an uproar. But
At that
when
point, it's too late.
when we have grown men impregnating underage women, I mean, sorry, not women, underage girls, we have little boys being sexually seduced by a friend of their mother's aunt, somebody, and then we find out, but because it's somebody who we know, a lad, no say nothing, boy. This man always a
Alado.
trouble young girls, boy. Always. You know what I mean? Nobody has say nothing, but you can talk amongst
Hey,
yourself. You chat, yeah.
people trying to get in, you know.
They click on the link.
Yeah, because Kyle says share me a video, but no answer from you guys.
Oh, he's on. He could see.
Yeah,
He could see us.
he say good to yourself.
He could see himself. Okay.
Yeah,
Um, for some reason I don't see it.
yeah.
Okay.
He sent that photo saying that he's on the waiting screen.
Interesting.
He's on the waiting screen.
I don't see him in any of these screens, but I need to get him on, because
Hello. Hold on, let me see mine as well.
let me look at the thing. Let me look at the mix and see if I could find him in the connection at all. It would be this one, the manager. Oh, I think I know what's happening.
Okay.
I think they're disconnecting each other, Kyle and
Okay. So
Curtis,
okay.
right?
See if you get anyone. See if anybody's on and pull it in.
No, no one's on right now because they keep disconnecting each other. So they're gonna have to. Okay, I know what I'm gonna do. But continue the conversation, right?
No, but like we said, the issue is that we need to start talking. I mean, we need to start speaking about these things, and these conversations need to be had within the home as well.
Oh yeah,
We need to speak about these things inside the house. You know what I mean? Because let's call it what it is. Anybody that's a pedophile, they got a family, some shape of there's somebody brother, somebody cousin, somebody uncle, somebody something. You're gonna be around people. So we have to have those conversations because that individual may just be in your living room.
exactly. So Curtis, use that link, and Kyle, use the first link.
Kyle say he log back on and the same thing. Because it'll be good to get another point of view in this conversation. So
Yeah,
let's
yeah,
let's see if we can get him
definitely,
in.
definitely. I sent a new link, so just waiting to see what if the new link could, if they could, one of them could get the new link. What I'm been see, someone is on, so
Okay.
Kyle is on, so we can bring Kyle in.
Bring Kyle in.
Kyle, one thing, can you mute your Facebook?
Yes, I actually just did.
Okay,
Yeah, bring him up.
so
Kyle, blessings,
Hey,
man.
blessings to you both as well.
So you
all
join the
right,
conversation. Let's start.
Yes, and you guys know this is a very touchy subject for me because and I love the discourse that you guys are having, but I think we need to take it a step back because before the pedophilia behavior actually takes place, before the touching and the sexual advances and the actual contact, physical contact of sex comes into place, there's a whole process that's being done prior to that. And that is called the grooming process, which a lot of us are not aware of because we don't pay attention to that part. A man or a woman is not just going to get up today and just immaculately go out there and have sex with a teenager or a child just on day one. A lot of the times, this happens where an adult find a child who is in a very vulnerable state, whether that may be from a financial aspect, from a loving aspect, from a physical aspect, a social aspect. And we as adults, and I'm using the word we, not saying I'm a perpetrator, but on a broad spectrum, we lure these kids into tampering with their whatever they are lacking, whether that, and it happens a lot of the time with finances. We go after these kids and we get them financially, we get them comfortable, and we give them a $5 here, a $10 here, we buy them a phone card, a shirt, and the gifts that we give to these children keep advancing and advancing and advancing. And by the time before you know it, these kids feel like they're being so good to me, I technically owe them something. So when that physical touch or that pass comes along where they feel touch, and the touch is actually a violating touch, the kid does not feel violated because they feel that they're in a comfortable space because they've already been groomed to feel and think that when that touch comes, it is okay because I have supported you emotionally, financially, in whatever way. That whole grooming process is where we need to start this conversation at. So a lot of parents are aware of what's going on with their children. Children are also aware of what that grooming process entails. So when they see it, they can say something.
Agreed. You know, we but Kyle, what about the parents that allow the grooming? That I think that is a part of the conversation that we need to have.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, parents doesn't allow the grooming because parents are not aware their child is being groomed, right? A lot of the times, let's look at, I'm going to use all three of us here as an example. We all three here live a very comfortable life, right? Hypothetically. A parent may see her young son or daughter coming around, all three of us, and they're technically looking at us as a big brother, a big cousin to our young children, right? So they're not looking at us as predators. They're not looking at us as we're grooming these children. They're looking at us as father figures, big brother, whatever fourth it is. And I'm not saying that parents sometimes are not aware that these things are happening, but majority of the cases, parents either one, don't know at all, or just automatically think they have my son or daughter's best interest without realizing that they may have their best interest, but in a grooming way. So they're grooming the kids. And also, as you stated, there are some parents who are aware that their young teenage daughter or son is being molested by an adult. And they look at it as two things. They're getting a financial reward from it, so it automatically becomes okay. And this happens a lot with very wealthy people, known people within society.
Okay.
Or they look at it as, oh, he's a boy, he ain't gonna let it happen to him, without realizing that he's a boy. It very well can happen to him, right? So, and a lot of the times parents are so zoned out, trying to provide for their children, trying to work and even enjoy their own adolescent lives, that they are not paying that close attention to their children. I'm not saying that that is wrong, that is right, it is wrong, but the reality of what we're facing here is the grooming process is not being talked about because a lot of people are not aware of it. So when the predatory behavior comes into effect, it is too late. Sometimes.
So what are some of the things, what are some of the signs of this grooming process that you might know?
Some of the signs of the grooming process are very simple and very subtle. For example, it happens a lot during the church. A lot of these after church programs, Bible studies, And I'm giving you examples from the concerns and the knowledge I have of this from these things coming to my inbox and me speaking to kids about it back home. They're coming from a lot of athletic sports meet.
Mm.
They're coming from a lot of people, young men who are just looking for an opportunity to make a better life for themselves, whether that may be in sports or just a social club. And it also happens to a lot of grown folks as well. Grown folks can be groomed. A lot of young men who are 23, 24 are just looking for an opportunity to get a better life. They may look for a job, and they may have an employer, their boss, and I'm speaking from personal experience here, where their boss may be being a little bit too flirtatious with them, and it's coming off in an authoritative way, but in actual reality, they're trying to get you to be submissive to them as their employee, but in actual reality, they are offering you these promotions and offering you to work late and giving you overtime, not realizing that you're grooming this person for your own sexual gratifications. Parents out here are so busy nowadays living their own lives, they're not realizing that their young sons and daughters have $100 on their phone as a top up when they only gave them 25. They see their son come home with a pair of earpods, as simple as earpods. Where did you get the money to buy these earpods? Sometimes it's an older adult giving your son and your daughter these things as charitable gifts to get them comfortable, to get in a vulnerable state and then make their play.
Yeah, and we had this conversation. We were talking about true pedophiles versus opportunistic pedophiles, right? And
Right.
just what are you talking about? Are people who are taking certain opportunities and acting on a certain impulse? You know,
Yeah.
we also spoke about, well, the male, the person. I don't want to just say male, but the person who might not
Yeah.
have the social, um, they might not be social able enough to deal with a grown up, an adult, right? They might not have that social ability to
Correct.
have the conversation, and it's a lot easier to entice children with candy, right? Give them something, the flashy car, the new phone. You know, they want things that their
Correct.
parents may not be able to. So we did have that discussion, and what you're saying is the truth. Now, what do you suggest that we do in
I
society
think
now
having
to help build the
I think having
awareness?
these conversations with your children is going to play a vital role in a cultural shift, in a change, in a generational shift that we're seeing right now. Having these conversations from a very early age of what conversations, because a lot of people say to their kids, don't let anybody touch you here or touch you there, right? But like I said, before the touch comes the conversation. And we need to start having the conversations with our children to let them know what are acceptable conversations to have with an outsider, with an adult, with anyone in general, because grooming them to understand that certain conversations are not okay for their age, that is also important. And as well, you know, if a child is being touched on their private area, some people may automatically get emotionally enraged about that.
Yeah,
But what about the touch that's here? That's going to be massaging your daughter or your son a little
correct,
bit too much.
correct,
And we're saying to our sons and our daughters, oh, he didn't mean nothing by that. But in
correct.
actual reality, your son or your daughter felt it was a little bit too much. Then we need to open the conversation to have your son and your daughter come
Hmm.
to you with that touch, and you and your son or your child work along with each other to find out why she felt that way, why he felt that the touch on the shoulder was too much. Because had he touched her in a private area, we would be up in our arms about it, right? So I think we need to bring the conversation back at an earlier age with children to let them know what conversations are also acceptable from what's not acceptable.
What do you think should be done to the
Wow.
perpetrator, though?
I think the law needs to change, but before the law change, a generational change needs to take place. And when I say generational change needs to take place, um, Because here's the thing, and I'm going to step on a few toes here without calling names. The laws can't change because we do not have a legislative body within the Caribbean or St. Kitts and Nevis, for example, where it's more than 8 or 11 ministers, and if one government controls it, that's just it, right? They are passing the laws. So what we need is a generational change in order to drive a legislative change, because sometimes the same people that are responsible for upholding and making the laws are the same ones that are breaking them. If they're not breaking them, their very own friends and close family relatives are breaking them, and they have the ability to call off someone being arrested or a case being pushed to a certain degree. So, in order for the laws to change, for everyone to be held accountable, it's not going to happen.
Look like he dropped.
Yeah, he might have get cut off.
Yeah,
Someone else
Kyle
there?
back in if still there. Kyle back in if still there. Um, but we're trying to get Kyle back. Era, you realize a lot of what Kyle was saying is similar to what I was telling you.
Yeah.
We need to break the cycle. The cycle has to be broken. And it's going to take a brave person that's going to step up to say, we have to change it.
It could be you. Because what I am saying here, right, is that we need to talk up and talk
No,
loud.
no. This conversation is something that we need to have. We need to have more often, and we need to have it continue. We need to. I wanted to ask him about what happens to a child who tells their parents this and that is happening, and the parent don't believe them.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, he got cut off. Hopefully, we can get him back on. Curtis, let me talk Curtis.
Yeah.
Curtis in the link.
Kyle, if you're wanting to just use the same link and jump back on the live.
But it's a serious problem. It is a serious problem, and we need to really.
Okay, so Kyle
You
is
can
back.
come in.
Okay, you're
Can
back.
you guys hear me?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
we can hear you.
No, what's the last thing you heard?
Really not 100. And the last thing you were speaking about is changing, a generational change,
Okay.
and
So let me
individuals
pick
who
up
are
from
in
there.
power. Yeah.
Let me pick up from there. I was giving an example. I have an adult, a mother-in-law in my inbox about a year and a half ago, showed me receipts of a group that her stepson is a part of, and a social group outside of school of a leader of that social group telling her son, your penis looks good today.
What?
Telling him he wants to see more of his penis. This is a 14-year-old little boy. And that parent is petrified of going to the cops with it because of two reasons. She fears her son doesn't get chosen to be on the social team. And I'm using social team just for discussion purposes. And also, she fears the cops leak the information about her son being molested and he being harassed by his friends.
Okay.
So, again, in order for the laws to change, there needs to be a generational shift in this
Okay, wait.
conversation.
Hold on, Kyle. I want to ask you a question. This mother,
Yes.
where is the father of this child?
The father is presently in St. Kitts and Nevis, but I'm going to give you a caveat to that. The father is coming from a very urban hood guy. So the father does not have knowledge of it, and the mother-in-law does not want the father to know. The only two adults who know is the grandmother and the mother-in-law. Because if
Okay.
the father gets hold of this, it could result in the father
Hold
as
on,
quoted.
Kyle. Hold on, Kyle. Okay,
Okay.
and this is one of the problems that we face in society. Do not rob that father of the opportunity of protecting his child. You do not do that. I understand what you think, but the same how as a mother you're concerned, that is his child. He's a father and he's concerned as well.
Yeah, but you have to look at this as a different thing too, right? If you know what is capable of that father, whereas he can murder that guy, and justifiably so, let me just say, right? And you don't want the child to lose his or her father, and you don't want your partner to go down that road, right? As a human being, you're going to be as protective as possible, right? But I still think there needs to be a conversation had with the father, with the authorities involved to get this child out of harm's way.
No,
Okay,
okay.
no,
Go ahead.
hold on, Ira. Now I agree with you. Have a conversation with the father, with the authorities. I agree. Give the authorities the opportunity to work. I understand that, but you have to give that father, let that father have that knowledge. If the police does not act, then you cannot blame that father. Because as a parent, your job is to protect your children. They did not ask to be here.
That is correct. But you also have to look at the other ramification of things. If you know the father is going to take drastic measures in his own and probably kill this individual, do we really want a murder? You understand what I'm saying?
Well,
Because I can tell you,
I would like my child mother to tell me. I would like
I know
my
the
children's mother to
individual.
tell me.
I know the individual, and that's exactly where it's gonna happen. That's exactly what's gonna happen.
All right.
And I totally understand, but I would like I would like my children parents to tell me what's going on,
I
and then
agree.
I could act accordingly.
I
Because it's
agree.
Christmas for me. It's always Christmas for me. Eh? I like to give out gifts.
Yes. But
My
yeah, the conversation needs to change.
my question is, okay, this is what I was saying. We know, but we don't do anything. The same way how you know, you talk about it, but you, have you encouraged the mother to do more?
I've encouraged the mother to get when I'm faced with these situations, I don't care about the mother, the father, I care about the child. I've encouraged the mother to seek help for the child because that child has experienced trauma, right? That in itself is trauma.
Yeah.
So I have some avenues in which I use in St. Kitts and Nevis to get kids help, and I often use them, and I've shared that channel with um, in fact, if I can state Eric Evelyn, I've reached out to him for a situation similar in Nevis, and he has passed on counselors' information to me. So when Nevisions reach out, they have a channel that they can go through.
Hold on, Kyle. You said one thing, and want you to back up on that. You said you don't care about the mother, you don't care about the father, you care about the child. I'm going to tell you something. As a parent, you have to care about that parent because that parent could feel like they failed their child, and that can also send that parent into depression.
No, 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 no. What I
Yeah.
said is at that moment,
Okay. Okay. I
I
understand.
care about the child at that moment to get the child the
Understand.
help he or she may need.
Totally understand.
I mean, and some parents are being very negligent. I have a little girl complaining about her father-in-law is trying to have sex with her, and for nothing good, the
For
mother
what?
would believe. I have a kid. She was 15 at the time. Her father-in-law is trying to have sex with her, and her mother would not believe. So I
That's cool.
asked
I
the
will
little
actually.
girl.
No, she believes.
The mother did not believe.
A lot of times I feel like they believe, they
No,
just want
wait,
to.
hold on,
Go
hold
ahead.
on. The mother told her verbatimly she didn't believe. I asked the little girl. I said, one of these days, put on your voice note when he's talking to you and keep your headphones in your ear and record him. She actually recorded 2 voice notes and sent them to me. And he's specifically telling her, let me touch you, or give me a kiss and I'll buy you a costume. She played the voice note for her mother, and her mother called her whore at the age of 15. What you the jester when he's around? You always got on short clothes.
Reese,
So,
Reese, you remember
Risa
when we
have
were
the voice
talking
notes. I
about the
can actually
victim
send them to
blaming?
you.
When we talk about
Hey,
you,
listen,
it becomes a
listen. Let me tell you.
conversation where,
Let me
oh,
tell
you're
you
Reese, I'm
something.
going to share
fast,
the voice note
you're
with you
quick,
with her consent.
a long time she a look
Let
man.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you something, right? And like I told you already, the things that you realize is people pick these homes that they know the father of the child is not present, right? In a situation like that, and that is my child. Not only is the man who making these statements to my daughter going get it, but the mother got to get it too.
Yeah, I've heard the
And,
voice note where the mother is
and
saying to her, "You don't need to just let that every time he come over. What you got our short pants for? You
listen,
want him
listen.
show you?"
I don't care what
Who
clothes
buy
a
the
child
clothes?
wear. Cause she not gonna job. She 15. She not gonna job.
Right. So I mean,
I don't care
again, the
what. But hold on, Kyle. Hold on, Kyle.
Kyle,
Kyle say she wearing short clothes. I don't care what clothes a child wear. I don't care. Do not
I
ruin
no,
that
agree.
child.
no, no, no. This is why
That
I
child
told.
is not at all. I don't give a damn.
This is why I
And that is
told
one of the
Kyle.
problems we have.
This is why I told Kyle. This is why I told Kyle. It's not that she didn't believe. She believed. She knew. A matter of fact, she probably knew. But she was going.
Yeah, okay, I
You
could
see
see
what I'm
that.
saying?
Yeah,
Because now that she get the facts and she can't refute it anymore, look at her reaction.
her reaction is to deflect,
Yeah. You see what I'm saying? And that
to
is a part of
deflect
the
right
problem.
away.
That is a
So
part of the problem.
this is exactly what I'm saying. Parents on a whole, we are also responsible for failing our own children.
Yeah.
Definitely.
We fail our
Society,
children.
society,
Society has failed the
full,
Definitely.
kids.
full. I can repeat it again. I said we are all a part of the problem
We are all a part
Definitely.
of the problem because you and I would see something and
and
we
don't
would
say anything.
refuse to say something because it's our friend.
We would talk to you. We would talk to Reese. We would keep it there, and we would shh, 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 shh. But we would never go
Listen,
outside and take it to a level where there is.
listen.
Go ahead.
I was having a conversation just recently on my trip back to St. Kitts with an adult. It was three of us in that one space. And I end up leaving the person's residence very upset and very distraught because another gay person came around and we were just all talking, frolicking about a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
And the other gay person said, "Kyle, you don't see them little boys in the uniform coming down Church Street with their big thing and slinging in their pants." I said, "Excuse me?" I said, "What we're not going to do is to be talking about little boys in this sexualized way." I said, "I don't care how big or small it is. We are not doing that." I said, "I don't care." And I said, "You know what? I cannot sit here and be in this conversation without checking you and letting you know that is not okay.
Mm-hmm.
We can't do that." But guess what? A lot of people sometimes find these conversations appealing, and even us as gay men, we find these conversations laughable. To me, it's just nasty. It's pedophilia behavior.
Did you encourage him to seek help?
I did not encourage him to seek help because I was so upset that I left.
Kyle, I can take it a step further. You're openly gay, right? And
Yes.
in some cultures, people would say something is wrong with you. You have a mental illness. All these things. You hear the talk starting to develop of, well, it's their sexual preference, right? And the talk now starting to develop with it's their sexual preference when it comes to little kids. Equating that to people in the community, like homosexuals, uh, pansexuals, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So, how do you feel about that conversation? That conversation where people are now saying that in the same way how a man could be attracted to a next man, a woman attracted to a next woman, or whatever the case may be, they fall in that category.
Ira, here's the
Mm-hmm.
beauty about life, right? And what we're not going to do, or what we're not going to continue to do, is to put the word blame
Mm-hmm.
on any walks of life, whether that may be heterosexuals or homosexuals.
Mm-hmm.
I think in every category of people, I think there is pedophilia behavior in heterosexuality and homosexuality. And I think it is fair to say that because homosexuality is more of a men versus men thing. That norm that is created around gay men going after younger boys
Hold on, hold on,
comes.
hold on. I think you may have misunderstood what I said. What I
No, no,
meant
no, no.
was, okay. No, I'm
No,
not trying to
I'm
say
getting
it's
to
the
it.
community. I'm trying to
No, no, no.
say,
I'm getting to it.
okay, okay, okay. Perfect.
What you're basically asking me is that if we could say that's what we are attracted to,
Yeah.
why can't the pedophiles say they
Okay.
are attracted
Okay,
to
okay. We're on
that?
the same page. Let's go.
Okay, we're on the same page now. And that is what I said. We are not going to make that acceptable
Hmm.
because it has nothing to do with homosexuality or heterosexuality. Pedophilia is just wrong,
Okay.
right? And it is wrong from a point of here's the beauty about it. You cannot watch me and tell me, as a big man, you are going to have sex with a 3, a 5, a 10-year old. Their bodies is not developed. Because you would not go out there and eat a coconut that is this small. The coconut is not developed as yet. So if we want to really get down to the nitty gritty of things, you're not going to go out there and kill a kitty and a 10 days old kid that was born from a goat and eat it and make mutton,
Hmm.
right? So we're not going to bypass that scenario and say, okay, that's what I'm attracted to, a young boy or a girl.
Got it.
Yeah,
It is not
yeah,
okay and it
yeah.
will never be
That's
okay.
Kyle.
Okay.
And even
Kyle,
if the
you
gay community pushes that agenda,
Hmm.
I think at that point I'll renounce my Guinness because I'm not going to accept it.
I'm pretty sure I saw a movement starting to develop in that way, but I agree totally with what you're saying.
There is not a
I totally
movement
agree
in
with
it.
you.
There was an argument saying that what if pedophiles start saying this is who they're attracted to, just as well as gay men would say,
Yeah.
I am attracted to men. Right? So there's not really a movement. There was a what if conversation that happened before a couple of years ago. But pedophilia, there's so much ways that we can debunk pedophilia from both a heterosexual perspective and a homosexual perspective. And there's no way on no line that is acceptable or okay. Because the question begs to differ. If you're a pedophile and you have a daughter who is 2 years old, would you allow another man or woman to sleep with your daughter at so young?
I feel like in some cases they would say no just because they want the data for themselves. Because remember, incest is a part of it, right? But
There is that.
Kyle,
There is that.
we had
Because
the
remember,
discussion.
incest in some cultures are very much okay.
Yeah, we had, well, having sex with a minor in some culture is very much okay too, right?
That
This is
is
the
true.
this is the conversation we're having, right? I don't understand why a man, a woman would want to prey on somebody who is in an immature mental state. Because
You know
sometimes
what it is?
you look at the
Power.
body and the body is
Power.
developing. Okay.
Power. And you know what a lot of men love to do? I hit that first.
I said that to my wife earlier. I said to my wife earlier, the reason why we have a conversation where maybe if the child is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 or 10, we have a conversation, we have an uproar. But as that child start to enter adolescence and start to develop and go through puberty, you hear that conversation start to fade away. It's because it's
Yeah.
accepted. And for some men, in their mind, they want to pick the fruit just before it ripe.
And
They don't want.
even within the gay community, um, to be quite frank, gay men love to say, "Oh, I was his first." It's just a thing within the gay community and the heterosexual community. They want to know I hit it first, and sometimes I hit it first. Some of them don't care at what age, but they just want to hit it first, and it doesn't make it right.
There was a
By
whole
the
song
thing,
on
right?
that.
No, but listen, you're right? And because it's funny, because when I was in, I think I was in third farm, and I get this little girlfriend, and in the prayer we be cooling, and this grown man come to me, walking done walking, and the man come and say, "Bye, just want to make sure that I was there before you."
Wow.
I was there, and it was a serious thing. The man say, "I just wanted to make sure that I was there before you."
Wow.
Right, that's how it is. It's for bragging rights. I feel like a lot of men in general just feel like I hit it first. It's like a trophy. It's
Yeah,
like
but
growing toys.
but Kyle, hear the thing what as I grew up and I got to know about this individual. This man is 12 years older than me. He's about 11,
Listen,
12. Somewhere in that region.
I don't want to be nobody's first. I ain't a project manager. I ain't teaching nobody nothing.
So he was
As
in
a
high
grown
school
man,
when I was born.
okay. As a grown man, I like my meat very seasoned. So come to me at a certain age and we talk. I ain't a project manager.
Hey, well, Kyle, this is a conversation that we're going to keep going. We have other people that are
Yes,
trying to
sir.
get in, so we will. But thank you for joining us, and we'll reach out to you because, like I
Absolutely.
said, we'll keep it going. We'll keep it going, and next time we have this conversation, we'd like you to join us.
All right, cool. Take care.
Yeah, this conversation needs to be
Blessings,
had
man. Blessings.
more than once. Right?
Hello.
Siobhan, you
I don't
on?
know if y'all can hear me.
We could hear you. We could hear
Yeah, we
you.
can hear
Hold
you. We
on.
can hear you.
I don't know if anyone else could hear you, but let me make sure. Yeah, you're good.
Okay,
Share
so
the screen now.
I was
She's not sharing.
no, I'm not camera ready tonight.
Mhm.
Okay, so I was agreeing with a lot of things that Kyle was saying, and one of the things that I think is most important is that there needs to be conversations between the parent and the child so that the child understands exactly what is abuse, and that they know that there is a trust between the parent and the child, that they can come and say something. Because a lot of stories that you hear about abuse, especially in young children, is the abuser would somehow convince the child that if they report it, the parent either would not believe them, or the parent would be upset with them because they make it feel that the child has done something wrong. And the child believes it because they don't know any better.
Mm.
So from the start, the child has to know exactly what is abuse, what they should report to the parent, and they need to know that regardless of what this abuser might say to me, I know that if I tell my father, if I tell my mother that this person did this to me, that my parent will deal with it. I don't have to worry about them being angry or not believing me, because my parent has already told me
Mhm.
that if this happens, I am to report it and they will do what is necessary. And the child should also know that even if the pedophile says they're going to hurt the parent or hurt the brother and sister or hurt somebody in the family, the child should be confident enough to say, well, my parents gonna hurt you before you could hurt anybody for me, because I am going to tell my parent and they already told me what's gonna happen.
Calm me.
Right. So I think it has to start a lot of kids don't know what constitutes as abuse either. Um, for me, like Kyle was saying, it starts before they get to sex. I don't think a lot of them, unless it's a rape situation, it starts with the grooming. So things like exposing kids to pornographic material,
That's true.
and like he was saying, having certain conversations with children. The child should know, like, even though there was no touch or there was no intercourse, to me that is child abuse. Like, there's no way an adult should be exposing a child to be watching pornography, or even if it's pictures or whatever, or making certain suggestions towards a child. It starts um usually in what seems to be an innocent situation before it gets to the extreme. And sadly, as a society, we only seem to respond when it's at the extreme. Like sometimes we see the build up and we have nothing to say because at least he didn't do so and so. And as soon as we hear that he went to the extreme, all of a sudden there's uproar. So we have a lot to do with how we respond because I, if I ask you guys, how many times have you heard of a young girl, or how many different young girls have you heard stories of who's been molested or in a situation of incest? If I ask you that question, I think of a number. And then if I ask you again, how many of those cases have you seen even taken to court or much less prosecuted? I bet you the number is much less.
Very
That's
true.
true.
Very true.
But I
Very
would go a
true.
step further. I would go to the number of relationship that might be consensual, right? Because we know of a lot of those relationships as well. And at that point, there should be an uproar.
That is true, but for some reason, sadly, I have thought about it as well. A lot of people don't see it as abuse, even if the child is, like you said before, 13, 14, 15. A lot of people don't see it as abuse. And that's a fault of society because the law says that it is statutory rape for a child below the age of 16 years to be in
Who's
a
you
sexual
hear?
relationship.
Hold on. What would you call someone who is 16?
Their child, an adolescent.
Do you think that we should change the age from 16 in Cinque Terre
18,
Nevis of age of
18,
consent?
right. 18 is the age of adulthood. So there is that 2 year gap where we are saying that children can have, because we're still calling them a child, children can have sex, but they can't do anything else an adult can do.
Okay.
Okay,
I
hold on,
Can't even play
Trevor.
the lotto, eh? They
Hold
can't
on.
even buy a lotto
So
ticket.
hold on, Ira. At
Hmm.
18, you get to legally drink, you get to vote, you get your driver's license. These are all things, actions of adults. But yet you're gonna tell me at 16, the only decision you can make for yourself in life is to have sex? That's the only decision the law allow you to make for yourself, yeah?
Right, there's something wrong there. And I have thought about it. I was wondering, I wonder if they did it because they figure at 16 they might be in sexual relationships with their peers. And at that point, maybe they don't want to call it whatever. That's a totally different situation. By leaving it open, you're exposing them to, you're giving adults a pass to look at a 16-year-old child. But
Exactly.
if you think of it, Reese, think back on your grandparents and your great grandparents. At what age did some of them start having kids?
Okay.
That is true, right? And that is very true. Now, here's my counteraction to that. The information that was available to us now was not available then.
Right. So if we are saying that society has changed and we need to change the laws to move with society, I agree with that totally.
That is what we need to start doing. You know what I mean? And one of the things that we have is that we change things based on who we benefit. No, I
Correct.
don't believe. I think it should change that the age to consent for sex should be 18.
That is
Because
correct. And
the problem is that legally you can't rent a house for yourself, or you can't rent a hotel room for yourself at 16. So we're going to rent in the bush.
Have sex, Reese.
No, let's
Not ride.
let's start having real conversations. We're going down on the beach.
but it would not be in
When
the
then granny people
parents.
hold you.
It would not be. I am assuming it won't be in the parents' home, so it would be wherever the adult is.
That could be a
Um,
false assumption.
that is true as well, because some parents, as we know in society, some of them would know about the son have a little girlfriend a little older, or the daughter have a boyfriend a little older, and they don't see anything wrong with it. But it has to be a societal shift for it to be taken seriously. Because if you look, just looking through the cases that you see in SKN, you don't see many sexual abuse cases, and we know that it's going on. A lot of times it doesn't even get to the court. It falls on the parent because some parents don't report it.
No, they get big job.
Right, right. There's some form of cover up.
Hmm.
The person is in a position to offer the parent something. They do that, but you are selling your child. You have to see it as that. If you accept a bribe to not report that someone has abused your child, you are selling your child. And I think the part that we don't think about is the repercussions that the child faces afterwards, right?
Yeah.
Because just okay, let's bring a popular case up. R. Kelly.
Hmm.
He is one of the most infamous predators that we are hearing about right now. But if you hear him talk about his story as a child, he was abused as a child. So from that abuse, he formed an unhealthy definition of a sexual relationship in his head.
Oh, sure.
And
Hold on. Sure, hold
mhm,
on. You tuned into the show a little late, right?
yes, I did.
I could tell because you're saying everything that I saw earlier, and that
Yeah.
is
Oh,
one of the biggest
I
problems
didn't
So
we
you got
hear.
have.
sometimes. But
I
No, no,
didn't
no.
hear.
But I'm telling you
let
that
me
I agree with. I agree. That's one of the biggest problems we have.
Right.
let me just
Them go on and offend people after they go to, because they don't get help for what they experience, and they develop this framework in their mind of what a sexual relationship is, and they go and they themselves become perpetrators.
okay. Siobhan, someone else wants to get in, but before you go, right? You are a parent. You are a parent right now. What are some of
Hmm.
the things that you did, you've told your child, or some of the things you've done to ensure that something like this does not happen to your child?
I have had conversations with him. Sometimes I used to wonder if I started too early. I try to speak to my child,
Mm-hmm.
um, not as if he's a oh little baby, blah blah blah. No, I try to have real conversations with him about certain things. So
We'll talk
um,
about.
he knows what his private parts are. He knows that nobody else is even supposed to see his, especially at his age now. Nobody is supposed to see your private parts. You are not to expose the private parts to anyone. No one is to expose their private parts to you. No one is supposed to touch your private parts. And if that happens, I don't care who it is. I told him it could be family, it could be friends, it could be police, it could be preacher. Anybody who touches you or makes you feel uncomfortable, because that's another thing too. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
people don't touch, but they can make a child feel uncomfortable.
Let me ask you
If
something.
uh-huh.
What if the child likes it and they're not uncomfortable? So how do you have that conversation where someone touch your child in a way but they don't feel uncomfortable? Mommy said if I feel uncomfortable, but I
Mm,
like this. I feel good.
I have told him what abuse is, and I have told him that you are a child.
Hmm.
This is not supposed to happen. If he likes it and chooses not to bring that up to me, then that's not something that I have thought about, to be honest.
Hmm.
Because, like I said, my conversations have been around the fact that if anybody does this to you at all, it's wrong.
Yeah, but
Um,
not all touch are sexual at first, right? You might got like Kyle mentioned a little. Oh, I got a pain.
right,
Let me
right.
rub there. Let's say
It
if your child was athletic and they decide, oh, they have a pain in the hamstring, and the coach like massaging the leg, but they're doing it in a kind of way that's pleasurable to the coach themselves, right? And your child might think, oh, he's just massaging, but he realize the hands move in a certain way. But what about the simple touch as well? The holding a hand, just the soft touch on the shoulder, the stroking of the hair, the foreplay.
that's a tricky situation. Because like you said, if the child doesn't identify it as an uncomfortable touch, it would be difficult for them to say something. But one other conversation I've talked to him about too as well is certain relationships is like I don't allow him to do sleepovers and stuff like that. And I've explained to him that, the reason why I don't allow that is that I don't want you to be around somebody who you might think is an okay person for you to be around, but has bad intentions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I guess the most I could do as a parent is to keep having those kind of conversations so that
Mm-hmm.
it's in his mind, just as it's in the forefront of my mind. It could happen to him.
Mm-hmm.
Me having those conversations with him would keep it up in his mind as well. That maybe if this person is coming on to me in a certain kind of way, it's getting to him and what I talked about, and I should probably say something. Um, but yes, I've had those conversations with him. I explained to him, I don't care. When he was young, I would tell him, I don't care if they threaten you or whatever. If he watched certain scenes on TV and there's a situation where a child is exposed for that, I would pause the TV and ask him, "Do you understand what just happened? You know, you understand why if you're in a situation like that, you need to say something." So those are just some of the things that I've tried to do. As parents, we want to think we are doing all that we can to protect our children. Sadly, sometimes that's not the case, but we can't not have the conversations with them. I know it's kind of taboo to talk about sex, especially with children, but we need to get there as a society if we want to do something about it.
Okay, all right. That's good. That's good. But Chevy,
All right.
you came ready, bro. You came ready. You came ready.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you,
Good night,
Siobhan.
y'all.
We appreciate you
Hey,
joining the
blessings. Thank you.
conversation.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. And we have Curtis on the line, Curtis Cook. He was trying to call in for some time and he has been unsuccessful, so I told him to call my phone. So, Curtis, let's see if we could hear you.
Yeah, good evening. You guys can hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Hello, so you guys can hear me?
Yes, yes. Yes.
Yeah, good evening, guys. Good evening, good evening. Very interesting topic. And this topic is very passionate to me. And I mean deep. I listen to some of the conversation here. And some people be trying to go around and skirt up. I like the guy there energy. There's no way cutting around this. I don't need no style, nothing, God. These men need to understand, keep away from the little girls. Simple. Big man, I have a daughter. And I see a lot of the kids grow up in the community in Sickets. And when I look at the situation, what's going on around this place here, it is heartbroken. I'm not going a lot of big words, may cut down a corner. Simple. The police is not helping the situation. And then be frank and straight. Some people don't want to talk straight down the middle. Big man, there's a situation happening in Sickets where the police is not helping. When a parent is going to give the police the phone and everything deleted, it's not one parent but two parents. What are we doing? Why are we trying to cover up and hide these people? Let us be real. Let us be frank. How you gonna tell me a man 40 something gonna be with a 15-year-old little girl? Not arrested and being serious. No curfew, nothing. I mean, when these kind of situation gonna end? When my daughter come up, she in line? That's what you're saying? The next little girl who coming up in line? And nobody tell me about the parents taking money. The parents should be arrested who take money too. And you can't tell me that you arrest somebody based on a situation. And if the child don't speak, there's no case. Because the people is trying to put the child in a position where she don't talk. You're controlling the little child. With big man, we know how the situation go with big woman. Sometimes you have a big woman and you control her because you don't get what you want. And these are the kind of things that is going on in the federation today as I speak live. And when you speak, fake people coming on Facebook. Big man, I know the whole story, what is happening. And some people are afraid to talk because they don't want to offend people. The police must do their work. This is a whole going on a year now. There's no information from the police. Absolutely none. And I know the whole story inside out. Up to now, I had an interview police. Why? Say something, you know something, something. The people is still struggling. It ain't everybody go come forward, my brother. And when we have a system, what is corrupt, what you expect, and some people is afraid to speak about it because they don't want to offend people. Big man, these things is wrong. And you have people on Facebook defending it. How can you take charge of a 15-year-old little girl? They're taking advantage of people, children. It ain't everybody going to be able to rebel, my brother. But I'm saying to you guys, it's like a fancy talk, go grooming, all that. I don't want to hear that. Go after these guys vigorously. Put the picture on Facebook. Put up the picture in the lamppost in town. Because when people shop, the picture is all over. We need to stop hiding these people, trying to sugarcoat when we talking big talk. We have the big talk king. I am fed up of it. And the system needs to change because you can't tell me since last year we had the situation. Man arrested on no kind of supplement condition. Who can the mother go to? Who can she go to? Where's the system to protect the child? The police should be fully involved, have it under control and deal with the situation. But guess what? You're going to tell the mother to find a lawyer. They don't get money from the fine lawyer. You tell everybody who want to come forward. But these are the problems of coming on and trying to talk about big talk and grooming and but simple. If a man trouble me child, I don't want grooming. I come in. And that's the problem we have in my brother. And the partner and the program with you, he say best here, make it up, and I'm in the same position. But the system and the police and the government, everybody is not doing anything the best of you be in this country. The justice is depends on who are you. I look at a youngster this ago. He was arrested. He have curfew, he have everything. What's the difference with some of these people who don't want to trouble people, children? It depends on who you be. Guys, we gotta get real about here. And I'm happy that you guys can talk about it. And don't be afraid constantly talking about it. Because you have some people who come on Facebook with a Facebook page, fake page, talking foolishness. It's a very serious situation. And as you said here, my brother, I keep saying all the time, what happened when they pick up some young girl who was put in a fight? She was alive. And then we're going to be looking for some jail field to go get out of Trinidad. Because we constantly play around. And some of us fail to come and talk the hard talk. We're trying to talk style, trying to talk nice. There's nothing nice about it. Because a lot of people hear me talking about this for the past year. And what are we doing? The mother give up the phone came back empty from the police. This is the facts. And our guy in the country said the same problem we have with the problem. Depends on who you be, you get the leeway. But these guys are taking advantage over young girls and all young boys. Guys, continue the program, continue the way you do it. Don't be afraid. These kind of behavior is to stop. I'm a father. And I'm very hurt about what is going on in the country. As a matter of fact, they're taking advantage of people's children. And it needs to end. Police must be more fully involved. As I speak to you guys tonight, up to now the mother don't know. No information. What's going on? When is the case? And when is not the case? And what's happening? Because they feel like the little girl, as they're using the word now, take control of the little girl, play with your mind, so she don't go to the court to speak. How can these things be right? So she don't say nothing. You're telling me there's no case. Can this make sense, my brother? Do you imagine that's my daughter and because of you control my daughter? The case done? And you're going to move on to the next trial again? Because this thing been going on for a while. And people is afraid. And I'm saying to you, my brother, the police was dealing with the situation, it's not in the force no longer. And up to now, she ain't saying nothing. My brother, these are some serious in the country, you know. Where's the police? This is what I'm saying to you tonight here, my brother. I could talk because I got information, full information. Not hearsay, not them say. But guess what? The system said you can't say certain things. things have to come and ask you for evidence. But I got all the evidence, but I'm trying to hide and bomb. But you know what? It's a poor people daughter. The mother is a poor lady to take advantage. As some people say, they will not for money. So guess what? The little girl, when she come 20 or get older and wants to rebel, somebody gonna say, look at right long time. You had sense to know.
Exactly.
But at the time, she was being taken advantage of. She wasn't drunk, but we know how we go. You could get sex with a lady, and after that, you could get control, especially if she married. She ain't gonna come on the street and say, because she gonna afraid, especially if you up and people don't know what happened. Because she knows she got a husband. It's still a with a young child. And people is defending because they're coming on and trying to talk nice. But it is not nice. I have a 4-year-old daughter, and I'm saying to these guys, I am gonna be coming. Same thing with my son. I'm gonna come. And who want to say you are using the word ignorant or violent? I really don't care. These guys must understand. Stop troubling people, children. Let the young girls, let the young boys be boys. Let them play among themselves. But we must look out for them. And a lot of us in this country not looking out for our young girls, not looking out for young boys. Big man, I feel so nice with them. I look at all these kids up in the country. One little girl live at the top for 5 years. Every morning, Curtis, morning, you know, sometimes I'm gonna, and I said, millions out of the place. This is what we need to be happening. We must take our children, and when people taking advantage of them, we have to speak out. But some of us trying to talk nice. And I'm saying to you guys, the police is not doing nothing. At the moment, we don't even have to go in, or we come in because it's properly covered up by people, as you guys will say, in high places. In high places, that's the facts. So guys, continue what you guys doing. I love it. And I need you guys to continue. You realize we're talking about the issue, and we have women in government, in a lot of high places. Look at the amount of women were speaking the other day talking about the vaccine. Check the amount of women on Facebook. But you ain't seen them coming to full force talking about the vaccine of the religion. Guys, have a lovely night. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Right, man. Thank you for your contribution, man. Well passionate. Reese. Reese, you see that type of passion? That's what we need from everyone.
Yeah, but so he said that the situation is gone to the police and the police saying nothing.
So, jungle justice?
So here's a question, right? As a parent, you go to the law to get things handled the right way. You try to go to the right avenue, and you realize nothing happened. At what point does that parent decide, well, to hell with the law? Are you gonna be judge, jury, and executioner? Probably executioner first.
Jungle justice.
Yeah.
Do you recommend jungle justice? I mean, that's what I call it, right? That's what Popcorn singing, right?
Hey, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you a situation, right? In St. Croix, maybe about 12, 13 years ago, there was a situation where this guy was messing with this young girl, or whatever it was, and the father and the brother went to the police. And when they went to the police, it happened to be that the guy was a police officer brother, so they kind of hush it up. So the father and the brother, maybe later,
Hold on, Curtis. Reese. Curtis,
yeah.
call again. I don't know
Oh,
if
okay.
you want to get something in. Hold your
Yeah,
story.
let me hear what Curtis said.
Go ahead, Curtis.
Yeah, I will listen to the guy saying, but I'm not gonna be honest with you. Okay? Big man, I was in there, and I'm still in there. It ain't everybody has the energy just like me, would come and talk. St. Kitts is a small country.
I think
The
it's
mother,
needless.
the family, everybody. But I'm saying, I mean, not everybody will come forward. The mother is trying. People are trying. I can tell you something. The other day, the father, as he said, jungle justice, went with him at unless I'm not time police come. The man came by me place the night after 11 months. terrorism. Wait, with him at the government child. So in the kite Friday, we're talking to him again. So, but
Curtis, you have this show in the background?
Tell me.
No, hold on. Hold on.
Curtis, you have this show in the background?
No.
It must be me.
You can hear me? No.
Okay.
So what I'm saying, up to Friday, talking to the father. So, but I got my young child. I don't want to get myself in trouble. I don't know what to do. I'm saying to you guys, I'm speaking to you now. The mother has not got any information from the police. And when the thing started from the beginning, my brother, I would suspect that something was wrong. Just dealing with the police lady. That's just my humble opinion. Based on how the situation happened, I suspect something was wrong.
I hate it.
You understand what I'm saying to you, my brother? So all I'm saying to you, you guys gotta remember, I listen to people, listen that, it ain't everybody has that braveness, it ain't everybody can give you certain situation. It's a very funny situation, and sometimes when you're not getting anything, as you said, it ain't everybody could react, it ain't everybody could deal with situation. And all I'm saying, these are the things where we have to be fighting for, my brother. To be fighting. Because I'm saying, a situation like this should be the police and fully. As I said to the police who was dealing with the situation, she left the police force. I think have the manners to tell the mother. So you understand the frustration, my brother, what is going on here? You see the frustration, I'm not the father, you're not going to nothing. I know the kids, let me be together, my brother. A lot of children grew up in my place, I like things. I like the children as the passion.
Podcast after
And I hate to
podcast.
see people get you understand? I got two children every day. I love all the kids in the community. I love the kids. But these are the kind of kickback and fight where you get from people. Instead of people come forward and try to help. I'll tell you guys something I'm very interested. You remember this, some weeks ago we had Children Month. I mean, what to do with, let's say children, like to do with the safety what you're talking about, right? Hello?
Yeah, we're here.
Okay. I was invited because I'm so passionate about it. Listen, I want the world to listen. How funny this place is. They said to me, the people for the welfare, since you and Ike are so passionate about this thing, we're going to want you and Ike to be on a program. Because what do you do with children? I said to the lady, miss, no problem, that is okay. What? I said, don't mind, miss, be careful, you know. I might not get on the program because of the B. Okay? I get an email. The lady sent me an email from the people. Well, we wouldn't have loved it to have cook on the program because we didn't budget for this and that. My partner didn't have no more money. But before I really tell the lady because of what be, they will not put me on the program. I don't know how this operates. I budget my money. I didn't ask for no money, King. I did not ask for no money because I don't want no money. Because of the passion of the man, and the lady said, yes, I said, guys, I don't think they're going to put me on this program. Because I speak out. So you understand the kind of pushback and things going on in this federation? I mean, talking of politics, I just being frank and straight up. And that's all I'm saying to you guys, my brother. You guys need to continue the energy. And we need to stop going around the bush and let the big talk. We got to get straight to the point. That the man them who going on troubling people, daughter, need to stop. And the people in authority need to also do the work. Stop hide them. Stop sugarcoat them. It need to end because somebody is either we're going to lose one of our young children because everybody king is going to jump in a car with some of these people and they fight back. And guess what? Sing is going to go to Trinidad where they kill the child or kill one of the young girls. I remember most of the time the man know these people, the girls and the people know them, you know. So I'm going to say you're going to do what you're going to do with the child. I mean, the child will take a lift from you because the child trusts you. You understand where these things go? And these things happened before. And they've been hushed down. These things been going on for years and they keep hushing it down. Because we're trying to cover it up. Because I don't want to offend people. offending people. Because I say I have a daughter, and I look at all the kids in the community supposed to grow up to be young woman, be married, have a life. Not when they're 15 years old, I feel you could between them, and people trying to sugarcoat it and trying to talk nice. There's no niceness about these things, my brother. I'm saying to all these guys who are going around, please don't trouble my daughter. Please don't trouble my family. Because since the police ain't going to do nothing depending on who you be, the people got to do what they got to do. I hope tonight the people in authority start to act fast. Because the parents need justice. You really don't hear about these kind of talk, my brother? Take all the talk shows. You got women and a lot of talk show, them, you know. We got the girl Atherton on a show. We got this on show. We got that on a show. None of them talking about what's happening. Because it's not affecting them. It's when they hit the doorstep. When they hit the rich man doorstep, daughter, then everybody will come on all the program. You guys have a lovely night, my brother. Appreciate the call.
Appreciate it.
Thanks again.
Thank you. Reese, I think we had here some noise in the back. That's because Kyle wanted to get in again. Kyle, you there?
Yes, I am. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, I'm not coming on video.
That's fine.
I'm not video ready again. So, anyways, let me ask a question. A lot of the blame, including myself, has been placed on the police officers, and rightfully so, right? But I want to take it a step further now. When you have a police investigating a particular case, would we all three right now agree that there should be specifically trained police officers to deal with specific crimes? Would you all agree?
We don't have a special victim unit?
Okay, perfect. Well, we do. I think we do have a special victim. We do have that. But my question is, are they trained to deal with sexual related crimes?
Got you.
And if they are trained to deal with sexual related crimes, right? My question to you guys is, what law course did they take regarding the laws that we have in St. Kitts and Nevis where sexual crimes are concerned? Again,
I don't know the answer.
Yes. Hold on. Hold on. I'm going to give you the answer. Rhetorical question.
Okay.
What we have in St. Kitts and Nevis and a lot of these Caribbean countries is that when someone gets out of school with 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 6 subjects, we think that they're qualified to be a police officer, right? Or you're a friend of somebody high and low, and you get accepted to be a police officer. They send you to basic training. They teach you the drills of being a police officer, how to defend, how to de-escalate, and how to apprehend and go for drugs and stuff like that. I am proposing, which I have proposed over the past couple of years, every police officer in St. Kitts and Nevis needs to go to CFBC and take a law course, not only for dealing with sexual related crimes, but also know the law in itself of how to deal with victims and also perpetrators. Because you can't tell me, because you have 5 and 6, 7 subjects, you automatically become a great police officer if you don't know the law. A lot of these police officers does not know the law as to how it is written, but they know it based on societal and norms. Okay, it's a norm that you got tint, let me rip off your tint. Do you know that is against the law to rip somebody's tint, to touch somebody's personal car? It is against the law. So because something has become a social norm within our communities, police officers go in there and think that that is okay. I have a gun, let me box you in your face. That's a crime. You yourself as a police officer has committed a crime. So I think the better question we need to ask ourselves is, do we have trained police officers that are specifically there to deal with sexual offenses or sexual related crimes? And I'm going to answer that question. We don't have any. Because you take your daughter right now to make a report in the police station, whoever is sitting at the desk is going to take the report. Do they know the specific questions to ask? Do they know the probing questions to ask? Do they know how to write and document a report on sexual assault? And that is the reason why a lot of these cases go to courts And we have the lawyers in the Cucumber Brown, the Maurice Hobsons, the Jason Hamiltons eating up the government attorneys in court when it comes to these things. These cases will never bring in a guilty verdict on the government's or the victim's behalf because from the get-go, these cases are not documented and investigated well. And if you start that, it's going to end bad.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
So do you
know.
think the DDP should start taking a role in grooming the officers, doing courses and making sure that the officers
It is
know the law?
not the DPP's job. It is the government's job to change the requirements on policing.
But Kyle, I don't want to go too far away from the conversation that we're having tonight. But isn't there already a problem to find police in the first place? So you're saying the government should probably make it more enticing for certain people to become police, and then after that, also make it more stringent to become a police. Because
I don't
of
like to give
obvious,
my advice. I don't
what?
like to give my advice for free, but I'm going to give them one.
Okay, let me hear you.
If you join the police force today,
Mm-hmm.
within 6 months to a year, there must be a perk for you to go up to CFBC, pass your courses, the government pays for it, to advance you as a police officer and advance you by your knowledge and not by who likes you or who doesn't like you.
Okay, Kyle. I am going to tell you that I agree with you. I feel that there should be some form of law enforcement course, not just the basic training, but there should be some. And I feel that these courses should be annually as well. Like they should have some form of annual course, 2 week training that they go away for or something to keep them
Yeah,
sharp. Because you have a lot
yeah.
of individuals who've been in law enforcement for X amount of time and they never, after basic training, never went to another training again.
But that's what I'm telling you. You cannot say
So,
nobody is being convicted if a proper report is not being done. And in order for a proper report to be done, in order for a proper case to be presented to a judge, it means that the groundwork has to start within the first 72 hours of the crime being reported. Because after the first 72 hours, there's
okay,
possibility there's a 15 to 20% chance that case is going to fail. And we have good lawyers in St. Kitts. But that's just a little caveat for you guys to think about when we're blaming the police. Are we blaming them rightfully? Or are we blaming them based on lack of resources available to them? That's
Understood.
all.
I know. My blame is fully on society. Yeah? But there's many parts to it, and that is why and thank you, Kyle. But there's many parts
Yeah.
to it. That is why this is the second time we're having this conversation. It will not
and
be the last
I,
time we're gonna have this
I
conversation.
have already seen a topic by itself within the comments. Yeah? There's a topic within this by itself in the comments that we will have to make a shout of
Oh, hold on. I
because
think.
that one is serious though.
Hello.
Yeah, brother. Put them back in again.
Yeah, yeah, you're on.
Okay, so
Caught
no
this boy.
problem. Guys, let's be real. I don't think the guy understand what I said a while ago. I'm not so much fully blaming the police. I'm talking about the government environment in some of these cases. That's what I'm talking about. When the government gonna be making instructions in what we don't want to do. These are the facts. I mean, talking about happening just now. It's been going on under every government. Put man and bagay government. Don't believe I'm talking about. I'm not pointing finger at unity. I'm not pointing finger at every government we had. As far back as Arnold Simmons them. I'm saying I'm not blaming the police fully. But when you get instructions from the people at the top, what's gonna happen? You tell me, my brother. You believe it's just the police doing the thing, or people in high places is a part of the system? That's what I'm saying. The cover up is blatant. And I'm not saying to you guys, it happened first time. You happened on the labor, you happened on the unity, and you happened on the Simmons. Every government.
There's always been cover up. There's always been some form of government covering
Right.
up these
And I
kind
don't
of
have a
things.
problem with that.
I
But
mean,
my brother, when it's blatant in the face,
mhm.
being that blatant cover up, me ain't talking about a jokiness. Straightforward. If I said to you tonight, the mother give the phone without evidence, came back blank. I'm
Wow,
asking you, I'm telling you, a man who is a pastor tell me the same thing happening in Sunny Point. The mother give the phone. As a matter of fact, I went down to church to see if I could help her get back this stuff. And you know, sometimes on the phone, you could go on the Google Play, whatever you call it, the Google Pitch thing. Hoping that the things could come back, certain things could come back. The phone clean, sweep, wipe off. These are the facts. The phone couldn't wipe off if somebody did not get an order. You understand what I'm saying?
cover up.
And from day one, people been saying, oh, the man gonna give again. The man gonna give again. So it's a constant thing been happening all the time. The phone was given to the police with all the evidence. When you're gonna go and have a meeting, let me get a little insight. When you're gonna show up to have a meeting with the police, let's make a phone call. Oh, we can't tell you nothing. You have to be. I went with the mother. Waiting the meeting keep outside on the landing. The officer didn't have the respect to cast inside to sit down to talk. When I asked the question, what if the individual trying to get in contact with the child? Don't worry about that, don't worry about that. We know what we're doing. I said, but can you all chase it via the phone so you could know? Don't worry about that, don't worry about that. We know what we're doing. And this meeting held on the outside of the office, instead of cast inside and sit down to have the discussion on the landing. There's a lot of things that could talk in my brother. So I keep telling people, I'm not talking out of turn. But these issues need to be dealt with serious. So I'm not just pointing finger at the police. I understand the police. The police willing to do their work. But the police cannot do their work when the people at the top is giving orders what to do. And I said to you again, it's not just today. It's been going on for years. When we as a people going to decide to come forward, just like you two guys, thanks you guys, sure. Because people need to come forward. People coming forward. You guys. Where's all the female in this country? We have a minister who is a female up in the village. She in charge. Why we can't have a serious discussion about it? When we have so much of female, look who leading this charge tonight again. The last one was Ike and another guy. Now you two guys tonight. Where's the female to be discussing it? And every time you realize the female to be coming talking about brutality between man and woman. Nobody wants to touch this discussion based on child abuse. It's always about man and woman during the lockdown. A lot of women get hung up and all them kind of thing. They say you shouldn't talk about it, sir. Check it out. Troubling young girls is worse than anything else. Because two big people are fight. But for our young girls who is innocent, you have people is taking advantage. And instead the state come with full force. The state is a part of the system. So guys, all I'm saying to you guys, continue what you guys doing. I'm not going to show a court. A lot of people want to show a court. I'm not blaming the police. I love the police. I never had an issue with the police. First time in my life I went court was guarded for traffic offense. Understand? First time. Never got in the courthouse yet. The station was. Years ago in the prison got a partner doing something in the shopping and I didn't know it. I tried hard to do it myself. But a lot of people want to oppress you for talking. That's the biggest problem I have. And you can only talk when you're talking the truth. I respect people, my brother, but I'm very passionate about what I deal with. And this year, I'm going to continue championing the cause. I'm going to continue championing the cause. I don't care who in power, who out of power. Our young girls and our young boys must have a voice. Must be protected in this country. Enough is enough. Enough is enough, my brother. I couldn't wait for the longest way to talk about it. A lot of people don't want to talk about it because we're afraid to offend people. But I don't care who I offend when it comes to this kind of situation. Enough is enough. And after tonight, I hope there's clarity. And everybody gonna vex me after tonight. But I hope they stand up and do their work. Let the police do their work. But justice only comes by some people, and depends on who you be, you've been arrested. And if you're a big shot, it's okay. But when the fan hit the big shot roof, everybody running up and down. Everybody concerned. Everybody so passionate. Everybody in love. Everybody wants to know what's going on. Guys, as I said, my last call tonight. Thank you guys for having a forum like this. Please don't let tonight be the last. Keep fighting for justice for our children because they've been taken care of. They've been taken advantage of by a lot of people around this place. Good night again, guys.
Right, man. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Good night. Good night.
Reese. So we can round up the show. I know you were telling
Yeah,
a
we gonna.
story, so
No, no, man. We gonna roll out the show, man. We good.
okay.
We've been here for some time.
Yeah,
But definitely, I'd like to thank Kyle for being a part of the show, Siobhan for being a part of the show, Curtis as well for being a part of the show. You know, it's always good when you could get input from the audience as well, and thank these individuals for stepping forward and contributing to the discussion. And I mean, it's a discussion that needs to be had. It needs to be had more often. And it's a discussion that we plan to keep having because as a parent, this is not something that I would like for my children. Now, would I want anybody else to have to go through that with their children? All right, you know, Romy Evo got a song called "Dirty Man."
yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's a true song. It's a true song. You know, and we need to realize. And one of the other things that we need parents to open up the line of communication with their children.
yeah,
You know, don't have the child being afraid to speak to you.
yeah.
You know, one of the issues sometimes is that children are afraid to speak to their parents, and we don't want to have that open that line of communication where your child feel comfortable with speaking to you. You
Correct.
know, that conversation may just be the conversation that saves their lives.
Yeah. Honestly, that's the truth. That's the truth. I think you said it perfectly. I don't want to leave without reading some of the comments, so I'm just gonna quickly go through them. Um, Yovert, Liebert, Curtis, Cook. That's a sad situation over there. I hear you week after week and nothing is being done. As a father, if the law enforcement isn't doing their job, I'll do it myself. Maybe even before the law enforcement. That is a form of jungle justice, and you know that is something that some people and some cultures actually do. Reese, you say you will be involved in jungle justice, and I
Oh
think any
hell yeah!
father would
Oh,
definitely
oh, oh yeah!
will be involved with
Oh
jungle
yeah!
justice. So can't vex with the man
Um,
on that case.
there's a comment here from Iona Door,
Yeah,
right? The comment speaks about a sex registry, and that is the actual comment I was speaking about. I think that's a show by itself. That is something that we need to talk about.
yeah.
A sex registry. We need to have one of those, and I would like to have that as a show because that is very important.
Okay, we
Yeah,
definitely think about that one. We could still put it as part of the series, but you
yeah,
know
definitely.
that
It's a
is
part of the
definitely
conversation.
sexual abuse. Definitely. Uh, Siobhan, who had called in earlier, she said, "How much the law? How much does the law actually say about sexual crimes? I don't know. I don't think the law goes into detail on investigation and victim handling. That would need to be in the SVU policy slash code of conduct. So, I mean, that is a point. That is a point. Um, and one more from Kenny Seb, um, Bayan, Byron, Byron, Brian, actually. Yeah, it's that type. I understand that at the age of 18, you're considered as an adult, but I still feel it is indecent for a 30 something year old to find a 18, 19, and 20-year old attractive because to me, they were just a minor. So I guess in her mind, maybe it's like he was watching them, she was watching that person
But that's
before as
that
a minor,
that's
but
that's a that's a valid point there. There are some people that actually they'll tell you, hey, I befriend them until they're 18. I know people who have said that before.
yeah. But that is the grooming process that Kyle spoke about. But you cannot, I mean, you could have your own beliefs, but if 18 is defined as an adult, then I guess they're an adult. But I do understand where she is coming from. I have a problem
Definitely.
with 16. I know Trevi said earlier right here, and this is part of what we were saying. Consent for sex should be 18 years. Good thing my time
Well,
done
okay,
pass.
okay, but hold on, right? Because one of the things that we speak of consent for sex, yes,
Hmm.
but the age disparity is a major part of it as well. Because if you're talking 16 and 16, 15 and 15, that's a little bit because they're both the same age.
So you wait, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on,
No,
hold
no,
on,
no.
hold on.
Because here's the question then: who goes to court? Statutory rape falls on who?
That's another. That is another conversation in itself, right?
That right
No,
there is
hold on.
another
No,
situation.
but I'm saying it doesn't have to be statutory rape, but at what age is an appropriate age for people to start having sex?
I
Because
would
you
like my
just
daughter
said
today, but
15 and 15, yeah, it's not an adult, but is it right for two 15-year
yeah, but
olds to have sex?
yeah, but I would like my daughter today a virgin, so the age for me would never be
I
would
hope
never
your
be. You
daughter
know what I mean?
becomes get to full
You know,
age. I don't know why
you
you would
know.
want such a cruel life for your daughter because you must
That's
indulge in
a,
the pleasures of certain things. As she become an adult, I hope she enjoys a nice
but
adult life.
but but that's the thing. So I think when Chevy made that statement, Chevy is thinking of that kind of way. But you know, that's another conversation again by itself.
Yeah, I can I just wanted Chevy, if he's still on the line, to understand what we're saying here is that the law say if you're 18, you're an adult. The law say if you're 16, you could give consent to sex. Yet still,
Yeah.
you're still considered a minor. So the law is
Yep.
actually set up in a way that we are accepting that minors will be having sex with grown people, adults, because the law allows it. Anyway, it's been real talk, and on real talk, we always keep it real. Reese, it was a healthy conversation. Hopefully, more people
Uh,
tune in tomorrow and
oh
watch the
yeah.
live, catch the rebroadcast. Always on
Oh
Facebook,
yeah.
and we're also on YouTube. Yes, check us out at YouTube, and we should be rebranding the YouTube page in a short order. It still says Real Talk Hannah, but we thank you all for joining us tonight. Like Jason said, share the life, you know, but respect, and it has been real. Join us again next week, Monday, for another conversation. We're out.
Real talk, real talk, real